Lower?
How about now?
That's too quiet.
Okay. Sorry, I was changing the wrong one. And how about now? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I think
4.
that's fine.
That's fine. There's not going to be too much hosting, I think, anyway.
Byron says hi.
Hi, Byron.
Hi, Baron. All right.
Can they hear us on stream?
So whenever you're ready, we are.
Okay.
Are we ready to go? Are they like getting set up?
We're good to go when I am. Can you talk into your mic again?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right.
Check one.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Woo!
The peer hype.
All right.
Okay, so
Welcome to Super Metroid Redesign. If you may have seen a Super Metroid run before, but if you've never seen this, Super Metroid Redesign is a ROM hack of Super Metroid. And it's one of the oldest and biggest ROM hacks of the game, kind of the granddaddy of Super Metroid ROM hacks. So the first thing you notice is that the beginning here in Series Station, this part is the same as it was before. But you might have noticed as Elm was running down here that he's falling really fast. That's because one of the things that this hack changes is the gravity and the physics of the game. You also notice that he's shooting a lot more shots on screen without hitting any kind of shot limit. That's another thing that the game changes about the base physics. So this is Ridley, and just like in the vanilla version of the game, you need to take a certain amount of damage before Ridley will fly away and begin the escape sequence here.
all right. So yeah, my beam's firing faster because every beam in this hack actually has a separate rate of fire. So it's based on Metroid Prime. There are a lot of things in this hack that take inspiration from Metroid Prime. The beam system is one of them, and actually I won't be able to combine my beams once I get them. Without another item, which I will be getting because this is 100%, which, oh boy, this is going to be an adventure. Okay.
All right.
So, you can probably see these physics are pretty difficult to work with. Kind of the whole nature of redesign. Like, okay, series was the same. When I land on the planet, you'll see that everything is much different. The planet's much larger, and the physics are set up in a way that kind of it makes it difficult for you to do the normal sequence breaking moves like wall jumping and infinite bomb jump and things like that. All of those are more restricted, harder to do. I can't even wall jump right now, actually. That needs an item. There's an item in this game called the wall jump boots that I will have to get. And once I get that, I'll be able to wall jump, but I'm actually still going to be restricted to certain rough surfaces. Basically, it's kind of arbitrary what walls you can and cannot wall jump. So you can't just do it wherever you want, basically. So I'm in Criteria. A lot of this movement is just me trying to do rooms optimally, make jumps. I'm jumping through these doors to center the door transitions. This is a common thing in Super Metroid speedruns, where if you go through a door and it's not centered, like that one just was not centered, the game takes a little bit of extra time to align the door to the center of the screen before the transition can activate. So that wastes time. So I'm jumping through some of these doors to try and fix the transitions to save time in those. All right, so now I have the Morph Ball. Morph Ball's base speed is a lot slower. You can't really see it because I did a Mock Ball there. A Mock Ball is a pretty commonly known SM trick. It lets you keep your running speed in ball form. But you'll probably see soon here that the Morph Ball is very, very slow. It has half the base speed and it also has slower acceleration. So Mock Ball becomes a very important trick for me to do. And this hack doesn't require advanced techniques to beat. As far as, let's see, you do need to know how to wall jump. Wall jumping is required. Things like infinite bomb jump, which is made a lot more difficult, that's not required. I believe shine sparking is required, but we'll get to shine spiking later. There are a couple interesting things with that this actually 100% particular centers around. So in that room, I killed things in such a manner that I exited the room with 5 missiles. I want to have 5 missiles as much as possible during the early game, because there are red 5 missile doors I'm going to have to open, and the opportunities for getting missile pickups near these doors is pretty limited. So if I get to one of these red doors and I don't have 5 missiles, I'm going to be wasting time. This game's pretty sparse on items at the start. So now that I have Morph Ball, I can get back to the landing site, and I can go this way instead. And it's going to open up a whole new section of criteria. That's going to allow me to get to Brinstar. Also, should talk about movement stuff. Crouch jumping. So crouch jumping is a thing in vanilla SM. It makes your jump start by, oh, there's a cool little dodge I can do here. There we go. Oh, I missed it. That's another physics thing. Unmorphing slows your descent, so usually, if I don't mess it up, I'll be able to get over that guard, or over that pirate. The pirate does a lot of damage. I didn't want to get hit by him. I want to heal the full here by farming this cargo. I need 5 missiles. I desperately need 5 missiles. There we go. Okay. Run saved. Okay, so I'm going to be coming to another 5 missile door again, and so this game wasn't intended to be, this poorly designed. Outside this door is a Zila, that crawling brown bug you're supposed to farm, and you're supposed to be able to kill that and get missile drops. But the drop tables in Redesign are actually bugged because the hack maker Drusif, when he made them, he basically he put values in it that were too large that caused the table to overflow, so the normal logic of item drops is broken. So that has some interesting side effects. Like that Zila, if I were to kill it without full health, it will never drop a missile. So that wastes a lot of time if I get to that door without full missiles. Ammo management is huge in this hack. Even in 100% or in picking up everything, it is huge. I could die in this room. This goes bad. Okay, that should be fine. Alright, okay, we're good. Alright, so, Spore Spawn. You guys, if you've watched SM runs, you probably haven't seen this guy a lot. But he's required in this hack. There's a fairly tricky 3-round strategy that I like to do. That I like to try to do. I was anticipating a Spore blocking my shot, that's why I hesitated there. Okay, so I got 3 in the first round. I want to get 3 missiles in per round. That's pretty easy to do the first round, but it's pretty hard to do on the subsequent round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spam spray missiles early that round. I think I got 3 in there. Pretty sure I did. What spamming them early does, actually I'll explain in a sec. Okay, I kind of messed up the last round. I almost got it though. Try not to die. This guy actually does a lot of damage. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that he counts as dead, I can go through the floor door. I kind of have to explain this floor door thing too. For some reason, that's left open. And hello, these are wall jump boots.
Hi, Hal. Can you just put your microphone closer to your mouth, please?
I can try in a little bit.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Thanks.
Oh, this is bad. I have no missiles to kill this Zero. This guy does 40 damage. I don't want to get hit by him. Okay, got the jump over him. Wow. All right. Okay, is that better? Oh wait, now it's falling off my head. This is not good. Okay, so yeah, this game's pretty difficult if I didn't already mention that. Nearly died there. I don't even remember what I was in the middle of explaining. But yeah, so it kind of looks like you can skip Spore Spawn by just going through the floor door. But you actually need to defeat Spore Spawn to open a couple of gray doors in Brinstar. And you need those doors open to be able to get super missiles in any fashion. So, is required. Would still be required in 100%, but is required in any too, even if it's not obvious. I don't know why that door in the floor is blue. What sucks about it is that you can actually leave the fight early and it won't count as if you've done anything at all. You'll have to come back to Spore Spawn's room later and beat him for real after getting wall jump boots. And that wastes time, so we're just gonna not fall through that floor door. Okay, so now that I have wall jump boots, I'm using them to get back up criteria. As to the right of my ship is, oh, I need wall jump to get back to my ship first off. But to the right of my ship is a missile door that I needed missiles for. And on that path, I'm going to be getting bombs. And then I have to use the bombs to backtrack all the way to Brinstar and use them to progress there. So, lots of fun backtracking involved. Great game. Alright, so wall jumping, you probably noticed, is substantially different. The wall jumps force you away from the wall. So you're intended to climb shafts using both walls. And there's a fair number of instances where doing a single wall jump, I like to call it, is beneficial. But they're really difficult to do because you have to do the opposite, and like you have to hold towards the wall. This jump's really tight. You have to hold towards the wall in a really, really tight window before the wall jump starts to force you away. So there's some sequence breaks I'll be doing with that. Okay, so I never actually finished explaining crouch jumps, and what crouch jumps, I mentioned in vanilla SM, your jump actually starts half a tile off the ground instead of from the ground. In Redesign, it's even higher than that. I don't actually know exactly how high it is, but the effect of crouch jumps is far more pronounced in Redesign, and your jump height is higher to begin with, so they're actually very important for movement through rooms. This room has a weird little puzzle with a beta enemy called a reflect. Basically reflects your shot. That's what you're supposed to do. I almost fell in the acid there, that would have been bad. The lineup for it is really annoying and it trips up most casual players. So I'm getting bombs. You'll see when I get bombs, one of the changes made to this hack is there are 3 green dots now on the HUD. That is the bomb counter. That is basically from Metroid Prime. I can't lay more than 3 bombs at a time. However, 3 bombs is pretty sufficient for what I'm going to do to this boss. Alright, so that was the Bomb Teresa quick kill. You can actually kill him with bombs. They do like 30 times normal damage to him. So one of the interesting things that was done in this hack is most bosses have an additional special weakness. It's not obvious, like killing Bomb Teresa with bombs. There are a couple of bosses that are weak to bombs. Ridley's weak to pseudo screw attack, which using pseudo screw attack on Ridley will damage you in the process quite a lot. So that's kind of a trade-off. Bottoon's weak to screw attack. Phantoon is weak to shine sparks. A lot of weird things like that that you wouldn't really think of. This strat's pretty hard. This saves like 3 seconds. Wow, I missed it. Missing this strat is actually pretty bad because it causes the zoomer cycles in this room to be kind of off. And it's possible for them to hit me down like that. So what I did there was basically combining a crouch jump and then respinning into a wall jump. I didn't explain respin yet. I guess I'll explain that. Respin is, or spin jump restart, is a feature from the GBA games. Basically lets you restart a spin jump in midair. And it's kind of useful for things like that because I can get the additional height of a crouch jump, which has to be a straight jump, and then have the wall jump effect on the spin jump afterwards. It's pretty tricky to actually get extra height from, though. All right, in this room, there's some morph passages, some bomb jumping you're supposed to do to get back. I'm just going to skip that and do an infinite bomb jump here. This saves about 6 seconds here. Infinite bomb jumping in Redesign is much more difficult than in Vanilla. Vanilla, it's pretty easy. The technique is basically you lay the next bomb pretty much on top of where the last one was. In Redesign, it's pretty tricky to figure out, and what really throws a wrench into it is the bomb counter. So you can only have 3 bombs out at a time. So if you don't time it just right, you're going to run out of bombs, and your bomb jump's going to be over. You're going to fall to the ground. Timing's kind of tricky to figure out. It's not that lenient. So for 100%, there are some items that are going to require infinite bomb jumping. That's like a special thing that, hey, this is an advanced technique and you need to use it to 100% this hack. So there are a lot of items that are very unfriendly to get, and I will be hopefully getting all of them in this run. Actually, there's an item in here I need. Okay, now that I don't need all my missiles for this upcoming door, I'm just gonna kill that guy instead of dodging him. I do want as many missiles and health after this point, though. So I'm gonna fill up from this cargo bug, and now I'm gonna do some unintended stuff. I'm gonna save here because this part is actually pretty dangerous. So normally what you're supposed to do at this point is you're supposed to make your way to Red Brinstar. In the process, you'll likely come across Charge Beam. What you're supposed to do is go to Spore Spawn's room, wall jump to the top, bomb out a block to get super missiles, and then use those super missiles to progress through the rest of Pink and Green Brinstar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way instead. This is another path that only opens when Spore Spawn's dead. But if I go this way, there's actually a super missile pack in a bunch of spikes that I'm going to get. That's why I want to keep my health up. That spike hit is really bad because those particular spikes I ran into do 60 damage. I did not want to hit those. I usually make sure I have close to full health at this point because this is where I jump into the spike pit and things get really hairy. So after I get this super missile, which is going to cause me a bunch of damage, I'm going to do one of those single wall jumps. This wall jump is really tight. This is a sequence break. Getting up to this high ledge here is going to get me to Red Brinstar early. The other path is much longer, much more roundabout. But you're not really supposed to go this way until you have things like high jump and power bombs. Getting out of there is pretty tough. Like getting getting single wall jumps that tight is not easy. But yeah, so now we're in Redminster. Only problem is there's this big powerbomb blockade in the way. Drew loves to put powerbomb blockades everywhere. But there's this little secret passage that you can take that also leads you into force damage. These waivers do 23 damage. That is a lot for this point in this game. So I need to be careful here. If I mess up pretty much at all in the spike pit where the super missiles were, I'll have very low health for this room, and I'll have to be really careful. But one of the big reasons that this is so much faster is it gets me to this room much quicker without having to cross an underwater room. This energy tank is extremely important, besides it being 100%. This energy tank actually unlocks the door to NoReset. Because what you're supposed to do at this point in the game is you're supposed to get to Redminster. You're supposed to find this energy tank, and it unlocks the door to the elevator to NoReset. And you're supposed to use this energy tank along with 2 that the game gives you at the elevator if you miss the ones in early game. You're supposed to do a hell run to the ice beam, and you need the ice beam to get various suit. I actually want to open this door for later. I'm not going to do that. There's a trick I can do to skip the ice beam requirement and get various suit early. What am I doing? Yeah, okay. Actually, if I stop here and run from this part of the doorway, there's a strat I can do in this room. If I jump off the very end here and morph, I can bounce off those spikes, float all the way to here. It's just hidden little missile here. So all missile packs, all ammo packs are not created equal. The ones embedded in scenery, which is basically disguised as another tile, those missiles are worth 10, and those are going to be my my 2 super packs. And the stuff out in the open is generally going to be 2 missiles or 1 super. This game really heavily limits the amount of ammo you have access to, but it does reward you for going out of your way and checking hidden stuff. All right, so now that I grab that energy tank, the door to the NoReset elevator, which is to the left, is open. And I can go down there, collect the energy tank there, and do a 3-tank hell run where I'm taking constant heat damage due to not having Varia. This is the room that I'm supposed to use Ice Beam to climb to get Varia suit. I'm supposed to freeze these rippers to get into this tube that's above me. It's sticking slightly above this spike pit, such that I can't easily do a infinite bomb jump from here. Oh my god. Okay, this is actually one of the hardest tricks in the game for real, and I just got it first try. Like, anyone who's seen... Oh my god. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. I jinxed it. But I was not able to perform this trick for the longest time. It was known, but it was kind of considered TAS only. But I have to kill those guys to get them to spawn drops so that they don't harass me. And then I need to do a very specific setup in this spike pit so that I lay bombs in these specific positions in this specific timing so that I don't get knocked back from the spikes that knocks me out of this bomb jump. Like, you'll probably see how many tries this take me. This is how hard it's supposed to be. So this, all this skips is going down to NoReset, getting Ice Beam, and then coming back. Is basically a flat 3-minute time save if you get it right away. And I did not do this in any category for the longest time just because of how difficult it is. But recently I started to get semi-consistent with it, so I've been incorporating it in my runs since. And yeah, almost got that. I'm not sure who's on mic right now, but I'm coming up on a purple door, and if anyone on the couch knows about purple doors, then Oh, never mind. Actually, wait, Fozzie, you know about purple doors, right? Okay, there we go. I was not kidding about how hard that was. Okay, so that is a purple door. It takes the equivalent of 25 missiles to open. 25 missiles or 5 supers or a combination thereof. They are littered throughout the game, basically in place of the old eye doors. There's no eye doors in this hack. But they're basically guarding important areas or rooms. They're kind of an ammo check to make you waste a whole bunch of your ammo, so you're less prepared for what's on the other side generally. I mean, not in this case, it's just an item room, but they do a lot of that throughout the game. And it's because of purple doors. It's largely due to purple doors that you have such a large ammo constraint in this hack, even with 100%. Even in 100%, when I'm picking up everything, I'm gonna have to manage my ammo really well. I'm actually not sure why I saved there. I think that was habit for the hell run that I don't do anymore. So another really weird thing that Drew has done with this hack is he's placed a lot of earthquake triggers like that. So that earthquake indicates that an event flag has been set. And the trigger for that event is that I've gotten Varia suit. Like I picked up the Varia suit item and I'm going down this door. What this trick does, or sorry, what that event flag does, is it removes a solid wall in front of this door that I just went through. Because he really, really didn't want you to try and hell run all of Norfair. You might think that's nice of him, but that's kind of like, it's just kind of exerting too much control and not letting the player try things. Anyways, so I did not go the normal route into Red Brinstar. This actually means that I bypass Charge Beam. I'll have to get it later. But the main thing about not having Charge Beam is I'm coming up on the Crocomire fight. If you're familiar with the Crocomire fight from Vanilla SM, he doesn't really have an HP bar. When he has his missiles or supers or charge shots, will send it back a certain amount of steps. And if you don't shoot him, he'll start to step forward. Basically, it's kind of a tug-of-war thing, sort of. But the issue with not having Charge Beam is that I'll have to use missiles. I actually do want to save here in case the fight goes horribly wrong, which it can. I have no option but to use missiles to force him backwards. And if I happen to run out, which is a possibility because I'm on very limited ammo, he might choose not to be nice and not provide me with drops.
Hey, look, it's Rob the Robot.
Welcome back. Alright, so I actually need a super missile in this room. Unfortunately, I used the 2 that I had to progress. There's actually a super missile pickup in this room. I'm going to infinite bomb jump to it, but the intended way to get here is either come back with high jump or come here with ice and charge and use it to freeze one of these Deskigas and use it as a platform. And even if I had ice and charge, doing that in and of itself is very annoying because they don't like to cooperate. So the infinite bomb jump really helps out there. So I need that super to shoot out that block on the floor to progress. another tight ammo thing. And so Crocmire's in the next room. So I'm going to fill up as much as possible. Now, because this is 100%, I actually have 4 extra missiles than I would in any percent at this point. So I'm just going to shoot open the super door and go straight into the fight. In any percent, what I would do is I would shoot the super door, and I would go back and try and get another super. But at 100%, I usually risk being down one super going into this fight. So if this goes perfectly, I should be fine. Alright, we survived. And I have no missiles left. So that kind of goes to show how tight that fight is. Alright, another thing about the physics in this game is you're pretty severely gimped in water without gravity suit. But you're even more gimped in acid and lava. There are a lot of pits in Norfair with early equipment. If you fall in, you will not be able to get out. You will just die. And this room is actually one such pit. So I need to make sure I don't fall here. Normally it's not a big deal in vanilla, but I really, really do not want to fall here. Alright, so power bombs, your reward for defeating Crocmire. This is like one of the... I think this is the only room that's exactly like vanilla, actually. Besides series. Yeah, so I'm given 3 to start off with. Every single other power bomb pack will only give me 1. So, yeah, more limited ammo. Early game's pretty tough on power bombs too. So you probably saw on my way through here, but Rob here is made of power bomb blocks. So I'm gonna use a power bomb to nuke him out of existence. Save a little time on the way back. There's another power bomb blockade here, and there's another one that I need to clear on the way up back through Norfair. So I'll be using all of them. I'll be at 0. This room is, I didn't even talk about this room because it's so natural for me to do this, but this room is really annoying. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to freeze those squeaks, those enemies that are jumping out of the lava. You're supposed to freeze one and use it as a platform to bomb yourself into that tunnel. It's actually pretty difficult to morph into it like I did. This Snova over here is a pet peeve of mine. If you do this room optimally, then he's always in your way when you try to jump up here. I actually don't know what to do about it. All right, I'm gonna do a bit of ammo management here. So I want to get. I'm gonna go to fight Kraid now. I still don't have charge beam. So I need as many missiles as I can get. What I did there is I killed those Zebs first. So these gamuts are in stacks of 5. These refill bugs are called gamuts, and the ones in the previous room are called Zebs. These are in stacks of 5. So the gamuts are more efficient to farm for ammo, but the Zebs have a higher chance of dropping power bombs. So what I did is I killed enough Zebs to get to full power bombs, so that having full power bombs would increase the chances of future enemies dropping missiles for me instead of power bombs. So I don't actually need the 2 extra power bombs that I have right now, but I'll need to farm another Zeb before Kraid. I have to open another purple door. That's going to use pretty much all my ammo. So I need to get my ammo back up for Kraid. So the more power bombs that I have, the less time, or the fewer amount of power bombs that those Zebs are going to give me instead of more missiles, which is what I want. So these two underwater rooms I'm crossing, I crossed them on the way on my first trip through Red Star. That's backwards from how you're supposed to go originally. You're intended to go this way first. And this room is an absolute pain. If you don't time your jumps right with these yapping moss cycles, they will grab you. Those platforms that they're on are crumble block platforms. You will just fall through them. Oh, and there's a nice kill everything room here too. Another way to waste my missiles. This mini crate is a tank. Okay, so purple door in this room right before crate. I'm gonna blow my supers on this purple door and then come back and refill supers because it's much easier to get a super drop than it is to get 5 missiles worth of missile drops. So I'm just going to keep doing that till that door's open, and then I'm going to get my supers back. And we should be good for the fight now. So Kraid Quick Kill is not a thing in this, just because Kraid has more health than in vanilla, and your supers also fire much slower. So keeping my ammo, using ammo efficiently is going to be really important here. Nice. That was a pretty good fight. Alright, so the only thing that Kraid gives you in this hack is a Glass Meridian tube, which you need power bombs to break. So you can go to Kraid a lot earlier, but it's useless to do so until you have power bombs. This area takes you to the east side of Norfair. We were on the west side before, so now we're on the east side. There's this power bomb blockade I want out of the way later, so I'm just going to preemptively lay that. Oh, I never talked about that actually. That'll actually let me farm here a little bit too. Okay, now my ammo's pretty good. Alright, this missile also, we call this missile Bob Jr. Because he's kind of in the way, but not really. So it's kind of a reference to the missile that's supposed to be unskippable in Metroid Fusion. You can bomb jump over him at any %, but you have to pass that missile 4 times, so it's actually slower to do that. So we just pick it up. It's only a 2 missile pack, so it's not really worth it to pick up in any %. Obviously 100% we have to grab it, but that's kind of the origin behind its name. Okay, so coming up, we're going to have our first gate glitch of the run. You may have seen gate glitches used in vanilla Super Metroid. This hack just has a lot of places that they're useful in. You probably, if you watched people play Randomizer, you've probably seen something like this. Wow, that enemy just blocked my shot. That sucks. Uh-oh, I'm running out. Wow, okay. I don't remember the last time I failed to open this gate, I'll be honest. This is gonna be like around a minute detour, so it's not that bad. But this is the kind of thing that can kill your run if you're going for a PB attempt. I'm gonna kill these Garudas to try and get a super missile, because they're pretty good at about dropping them. Did not not get one. I need a super missile coming up, so I have to figure out where I'm going to get that. But yeah, so that gate glitch would have let me fall down a shaft and open another gate from that side, which I'll be coming back up this way, so it would have saved me from doing another gate glitch on the way up. So instead, I'll have to do another gate glitch on the way up because I missed that one. That earthquake is kind of that earthquake actually sets a trigger which removes another trigger. And the trigger that it removes is one that would remove a blockade in front of Dragon that is normally there until you kill Batroon. I don't think any of that made any sense, but basically there's a path that you can take where you can skip that trigger, and it will allow you to go kill Dragon without killing Batroon. That's kind of your reward for figuring out how to skip these invisible triggers. This in a standard route we can't do it, but there's all sorts of crazy things with triggers in this game. Okay, so this save is pretty infamous. If you've played Redesign before, you probably used it a lot. I am coming up on the Grapple Gauntlet. It's probably the most unfair section of the game for casual players. It's pretty unfair in general. It's pretty bad. But basically, I'm going to be going through a few rooms. This is a kill everything room, which is nice because you get this giant disc you get thrown at you. And it takes a lot of ammo to kill. Also like to remind you that I still don't have charge beam, so I have to make sure I have the ammo to kill these guys. So I am going to grapple beam, and once I get grapple beam, I'll have to exit this area. See that door that locked behind me? I can't go back that way. So I am going to have to exit this area through the bottom, and that's going to send me to what I call the Grapple Gauntlet. It's a series of rooms, and the first two rooms in particular, if you miss a grapple swing, you're just dead. There is no getting out of that. You're jumped into a giant lake of acid that you cannot get out of. And the save point is all the way back there, so this is a really scary part of the run. I hope I don't die here. I actually am doing a pretty new strat where, so basically you'll see the big cavernous room I'm about to come in has floating rippers flying across that you have to swing off of. And if you go fast enough, you can get an early cycle on the first ripper. It's really dangerous to do so. Your movement has to be really optimal, and there's a couple jumps that are pretty scary to do optimally, so let's see if I can get this. You also want to get this energy tank. This energy tank is very useful, even for any percent. And it's pretty much free to get. Okay. Okay, I got the early cycle, and let's see if I can make something out of this. All right. Okay, first ripper done. That is really scary because it's essentially blind. Oh, I dropped that. Okay, I'm just gonna wait the extra cycle. I don't know why I dropped that, but yeah, I don't want to take too many risks here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's one of the scariest rooms in the whole game. And there's this power bomb in the lava here for me to collect. You can get out of here. So those crumble blocks that I just fell through, they're not a death sentence if you accidentally fall through them. You can get out of here. You cannot get out of the right side of this lake, so I have to be sure I don't fall in here. There's one more grapple I have to do. I call this, we call this the complacency room because it's very easy to get complacent here and think that, oh, you know, you made it through the hard part, you're fine, but you can still die here. We also call this the bad luck missile because every time I ended up picking these missiles at 90%, I'd have the run die for some stupid reason. But we obviously have to get a Rondo. Okay, so this room is pretty difficult if you don't know a lot about crouch jumping and down grabbing and like movement techniques like that to manipulate Samus's hitbox. The grapple swings to get up there as intended are pretty difficult. So I feel like I was talking about something before I got into this whole grapple mess. I can't remember what it was. Okay, if I manage to do a horizontal shot on this grapple thing, I should be able to get through this in one swing. Oh, I missed it. It's a pretty cool trick if you can get it. Oh, I think I'm actually bonking the ceiling when I do that. That's why it's not working. There we go. It's better. One of the things that makes Grapple Gauntlet so scary, especially for a first-time player, is the extremely heavy physics of this hack. They're actually really unfair when it comes to grappling stuff. Oh, I forgot about this gate. So this gate's usually open. If I had managed to glitch the gate properly on my way down here, then this would be open. There we go. All right, first gate glitch of the run. That one's kind of awkward because if you bomb out the block like that, it's actually a couple tiles off the ground. All right, so this bouncing ball, is called a multi-viola. I don't have charge beam to protect myself with pseudo screw tech, with spin jumping. So what I did there was I actually waited for it to pass me so that these guys would be on a good cycle as I wall jumped up here. Here's the gate that I was trying to glitch earlier. So that actually let me pass through there unscathed, waiting there a little bit. So what I'm doing right now is, oh, that's a nice jump. You actually can't do a full jump there. You'll bonk your head on the ceiling and lose your momentum. If you do it just right, you'll get over that pirate, which I did in this case. So that's cool. I need a little bit more ammo. A little bit more, please. These guys are stingy sometimes. I think that's good enough. I think I have exactly the amount of ammo I need. Okay, so now what I'm doing with Grapple Beam is I'm going back from the east side of Norfair using Grapple Beam to get back to the west side. And what Grapple Beam will let me do is it'll let me get to Speed Booster. Speed Booster pretty much opens up the rest of the game. This is a safety strat in this river. I do not want to fall in this lava lake here. Depending where you fall, in most places you fall, you're gonna die. All right, so this room that I got spit out into, this is actually the end of the hell run that you were intended to do. So since I'm in the area, I'm gonna collect Ice Beam. You're supposed to collect this much earlier, but I get to get it now. Which is nice because following this route, you have to go through this area no matter what. So skipping the hell run like I do this early berry is a straight up 3-minute time save if you can do it in a timely manner, which unfortunately didn't really pan out this time, but it's really difficult. So I'm glad I got it even when I did. Norfair in general is just a terrible area in this hack. It's full of death traps. You spend a long time in here. This room we call the Magmore Tunnel because it's very clearly inspired by Transport Tunnel 8 and Magmore Caverns from Metroid Prime. There is actually an energy tank in that room. I'll be getting that later once I have Spring Ball. There's still an interesting thing I need to talk about with Spring Ball, but we'll come to that. By the way, you don't have to mock ball into this gate. You don't have to mock ball to beat this game. There's actually a tunnel in the ceiling that Mitter morph into. Okay, yeah, that's good now. This little shortcut doesn't open up until you beat Crocomire. Now that I've done that, I can take this path down instead of the long way. So yeah, Grapple Beam is going to allow me to get Speed Booster. Speed Booster is changed up quite a bit in Redesign. I'll actually probably end up demonstrating how right away. I can talk about it, I guess. So it's got the Shine Spark slope recharging. I like to call it Shine Spark chaining. Just rolls off the tongue better. But you can change Shine Sparks by sparking into a slope and holding run in the direction that you're sparking. And you can charge your spark again. So basically you can set up these Shine Spark chains that will get you through areas with a speed boost where you have slopes, but you don't have enough running speed to build up an entire new speed boost. This is a central element to a lot of very valuable optional items. And by very valuable, I mean they're larger ammo pickups. So a lot of these puzzles require pretty lengthy Shine Spark chains where if you mess up, you have to go back several rooms and start all over. I'm going to be doing a lot of these in 100%. This is one of the big reasons that is one of the big things that sets this apart from 90%. 90% doesn't require any Shine Spark chaining. It's considered an advanced technique in this. Oh, okay, I don't know what happened to my spark there. But you need Speed Booster to even get out of this room. This Speed Booster escape is really scary to a first-time player. I'm going to make it look easy. What actually happens is at the far left of the room, there's a trigger that if you pass it on the x-axis, it causes the lava to rise faster. And doing a normal movement through the room, you will likely pass that trigger, but that diagonal Shine Spark that I did actually allows me to skip it. So you get the slow initial lava speed the entire time. Alright, so I did not mean to spark there, but I got a slope recharge off there. I got that for the express purpose of skipping the Shine Spark crash animation. The Shine Spark crash animation, I believe, is a full second, and any time that you can skip that is time saved. So now I'm going to be doing some Shine Sparks to expedite my path out of Norfair. This one over here, this is going to be through the Squeak Room. These speed blocks in the middle are going to be gone now. So I meant, it was one of the things I was in the middle of talking about earlier was, I don't know what happened there. Do I have enough room for this? I think I do. Do I not? I guess I don't. Wow, that sucks. I was meant to Shine Spark up here, but I somehow didn't get it when I crouched. So anyways, before I get more distracted, see this power bomb blockade, for instance, that was there? It's not there anymore. A lot of the blockades that are clearable with power bombs or speed or whatnot, they actually have a physical trigger that when it's hit, it sets a flag that makes that blockade never appear again. So now I'm going to spark up this shaft to get a Wave Beam. There's a difficult trick you can do on the way out called Wave Spark. It's actually, it's a Shine Spark chain. It's very tight, but it lets you get out of this area much faster. And by much faster, I mean like maybe 10 seconds faster. It just looks really cool. You just want to get this because it looks cool. I might have wasted too much time by falling there. Oh, baby, let's go. All right, that is the power of Shine Spark chaining. Okay. All right. Now that I have grapple beam, I can actually. Oh, there's an item I need. I chained that one back to the elevator, not only to save time on actually moving to the elevator, but also to reset the Shine Spark timer, so I had more frames to do this spark. So reserve tank here. Every reserve tank, there are 4 of them, 1 in each major area. They all require speed booster. That's not really significant. I just felt like mentioning that. Now that I have speed booster and grapple, you can get high jump in Brintstar with just grapple, but you need high jump and speed booster to kind of open up the rest of the game. All right, here's this is a gate that I would have passed and been able to open had I gone the intended route to Red Brintstar, but since I did not, I have to glitch it. There we go. Getting better at those. 1, 2, 3 hump and chain. And there's a very tight chain I can do here that goes through an entire bomb block wall. There we go. And up and there we go. Okay. Alright, I'm going to be getting some items in here. This is the part where I start to get a lot more optional items. That's Powerbomb Gate. You can tell because it's yellow. So I open that with the Powerbomb to have the running speed to, don't mind the glitch graphics there, that was just me going too fast. To have the space to charge a Shine Spark to get up to this area. This area has got a 2 super pack up here, and a 2 missile pack in the other room. I'm gonna get this first so I can use one of the supers to open the red door that's gonna be in the other one. And then I'm going to farm as much ammo as possible out of these Zebs here, because I need it. I need a lot of ammo here. So I'm going to be pretty much cleaning out the entirety of West Brintstar, which is pretty much pink and green Brintstar at this point. Some of it's going to be somewhat challenging because I don't have late game items, but there's always workarounds. My health is actually really bad. I don't know how bad it's been. I'm going to farm up a bit just in the interest of safety. I usually have like around 400 years. That's good, I guess. Yeah, so something that I have actually, something that is very integral to Redesign that I have actually managed to not talk about at all yet is, let's see if I can get this straight. Nope. The requirements to getting to Turian in Vanilla SM are beating the 4 major bosses, which are Phantom, Kraid, Ridley, and Dragon. Not quite in that order. But in Redesign, killing those 4 bosses, they're just kind of in your way. They don't actually open up Turian. To open up Turian, you have to disarm 12 Chozo Guardian statues, which are actually repurposed Lord Orpheus statues. Like the one in Vanilla that drains the acid. So I have to find all 12 of these. They're very well hidden. And disarm them, basically curl up into a ball and get in its hand to be able to access Turian. This is what the game revolves around. This is what routing revolves around. The reason I blew all my supers on that purple door was because there were guaranteed super drops from those cack attacks. And here we have high jump. You grapple get this. High jump is extremely powerful in Redesign. It is actually come packaged with Spring Ball. Or Fence Diffusion, basically. Spring Ball has been repurposed into another item. The Spring Ball spot in the menu has another item tied to it now. So high jump, whether you have high jump, also controls whether spring ball works or not. Spring ball is really cool in Redesign because it has much more speed than vanilla does. So it makes a lot of spring ball strats more worth it, and looks cooler too. All right, so after all this time, I am finally going to visit Spore Spawn and get the intended first Super Missile Pack. Now I'm going to be going to charge, but also in the room next to charge beam, there are two giant side hoppers that are guarding a power bomb pack. And I don't want to waste my ammo on them. I need that for purple doors, excuse me. So I'm just going to chain strike these giants and then get my charge beam over here. Charge beam. In a first playthrough, you'll get it pretty much right after you get super missiles, and those giant side hoppers are basically a trap. Like you go into the room, you try and go left, they'll kill you. They do around 176 damage, so that will one-shot you at that point in the game, most likely. This is I don't know why that strat didn't work. That was a really cool spring ball strat. Oh well. Would have got me all the way over here. I'm gonna get this missile over here. Yeah, so one of the things that I'm gonna be getting in this cleanup of West Brinstar is one of the Chozo Guardians that is gonna let me beat the game. And this Guardian, it's quite well hidden. It's actually a better place to farm. I do need as much ammo as I can get still. Still have to deal with purple doors. I'm actually going to farm here because there's two bugs. They're a pretty reliable source of supers. Okay, I hit the door. I need to do that again. I need to charge a speed boost in this room. One thing I neglected to mention about speed booster is that you can't do a short charge like you can in vanilla. The game doesn't just check for 4 magic frames that you're holding run, so you can't cheat it that way and get your speed boost in a shorter distance. What you can do is do a stutter step at the start, and that will still count as running frames. Hidden here is X-ray. Not all that useful for my purposes, since I know where everything is, but you'll actually probably need this in the first playthrough, just X-raying everything to find out where the Guardians are. And kind of supposed to have space jump for this. Wow. Okay. There's a missile pack in the ceiling here. There we go. This is kind of a deadly tunnel if you don't know Spring Ball, because this entire girder is made of bomb blocks. So when you're trying to get out of there, and especially when you've got those B-toms on you, sucking on you, you're gonna naturally bomb and that's going to break pieces of the bridge and make you fall into the spikes and make it either difficult to get out or make you take a bunch of damage. There's this hidden little area here, and here is a gate. So gates actually also have their own event flags that the game remembers. Redesign was specifically modified to do this. Vanilla doesn't remember whether gates are open or closed. Redesign does remember whether they're open or closed. So that's basically a remote gate switch that I'm going to need to free that Decora. I need to go to it for the second gate, and then it'll be free. That Decora leads the way to the first Chozo Guardian I'm going to get. It's definitely not the first one you're intended to get. Like I said, it's very hidden. You're probably going to find it late game. And to get to it, obviously I had to open that purple door, but there are actually 2 more purple doors that I need to open in the path to getting it. It's a huge ammo sink. On top of that, you have to go through a room full of giant side hoppers, and in that room, you are forced to kill 6 enemies to progress. And killing giant side hoppers with this equipment, I mean surviving them to begin with, is asking quite a... Oh, no. That's not good. That's very not good. Okay. That's one way of dealing with them, is manipulating them to jump off screen so that they can't hit you. Because these ones don't move off screen. So I actually need a certain amount of ammo beyond this door to hit the additional purple door and a couple more gates. So I'm making sure that I'm only using supers that are basically in excess of what I need. I can go with 20 and 4, or 15 and 5, or 25 and 3. I need at least 3 supers for this, though. I'm pretty sure that hit, even though the audio didn't play for it. So this Shine Spark, actually, we Shine Spark into this room to deal with these guys. And then you can kill these farm bugs to satisfy the 6th enemy requirement. So I'm going to try and get a strat on the way out of this room that is going to reduce the amount of damage that I take. I'm going to try and do a very specific spring ball jump through the room that's going to get me hit by the Metroid in the ceiling, which is going to do, I think, around 25 damage instead of like the 70 or 80 or something that the hopper's going to do. So I'm going to try to have that get me through the room, taking as little damage as possible. Let's see if I can get this.
Hey, do we got a couple of seconds for a donation?
Not right this second.
Just give me a signal whenever you're ready.
Okay, you can go there. I just wanted to make sure I didn't die.
It's all good, man. So we got a $60.79 donation from Ali, who says, "Thanks for all you do." Well, Ali, right back at you. Thank you for the donations, and we're now at $760.80, which pretty much puts us at the same place we were at last event at this time. During this run, only was any %, so we got a little bit more time ahead of us. Once again, it's for the VP Saint Louis. They help parents with children that suffer from autism, mental disabilities, cerebral palsy, and they're a great resource. They've helped my 6-year-old son quite a bit, who's severely autistic. They've helped us quite a lot as well, and I really want to give back to them. Our objective for this event would be $5,000 by the end of the event. So if we last year, if I remember correctly, we were at $1,250 by the end of Super Metroid Redesign. If we can beat that by the end of that run, that would be really, really amazing. So keep up the good work, all the runners, all the viewers, and everyone. Thank you so much, and I mean, keep enjoying the show.
Alright, so that was pretty much all the cleanup I needed to do in West Brinstar. That was the guard I needed to get. And you can see how that's kind of a late game thing. Taking a lot of damage, using a lot of ammo. I think my health is over here. Aside I'm in Criteria, I'm pretty much going to be trying to clean up all of Criteria in one go. One thing that's going to make this difficult is the fact that I don't have Space Jump, which is you're intended to have to get some of these items. So I'll have to do some tricky Shine Spark stuff to get some of them. This first item that I'm about to get, this is one of the more difficult Shine Spark puzzles in the game. It's quite lengthy. I'm going to be trying to get pretty much all the way back to the elevator room with this Shine Spark to get a 2 super missile pack. This is pretty scary to do in runs because depending where you fail this trick, if you fail it, you can lose a minute and a half right there. Okay, just got this room to go. We're almost there. Okay. There we go, first try. Items like this super missile are a reason that a lot of people are intimidated in going for 100%. It's actually pretty hard to figure out the pathing that you need to take this for the Shine Spark puzzle, much less execute it. Distinction between the Shine Spark chaining in this hack and in Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission is in Super Metroid your Shine Spark just moves a lot faster. Like things are a lot faster paced. You have to react quicker. I think that this makes it look a lot cooler too. But it is quite a bit harder, I would say, than some of those intended items in those games. This is one of my favorite stats I'm about to do. Right when I get into this room. Did I get the... Okay. Okay, I'm actually gonna waste time here to make sure I get this. This is cool. No, or not. Okay. Can I do this? I can. Okay. That's what I was trying to do. There we go. That's a bomb block. Optimally, you can do a chain into speedball with it. This is Morph Ball's area, cleaning out the items back here. There's one item that I'm supposed to have Space Jump for that I'm going to try and do some tricky stuff to get. So basically, there's going to be a big purple cavernous room. There's a Metroid that falls from the ceiling. I'm going to turn on Ice Beam, and I'm going to try and lure it down and freeze it in midair to the point where I can stand on it to get to the top of the room. It's actually really hard because of where it falls from and how fast it falls, so we'll see if I can get this. I may end up resorting to infinite bomb jumping up the entire room, which is slower. I don't want to have to do that. Okay, this first jump kind of aggroes it. I didn't get it. I'm gonna try it one more time. If I don't get it this time, I'll just bomb jump up. Okay. Okay.
have time for another donation.
Okay, there we go. Let's not die on the way out of here. Alright. Okay, now it should be good.
All right. Well, we have a $33 donation from Mobilo, who says, Mobuild, sorry, who says, Peer Force!
Yo, shoutouts to Mobile, thank you.
Yeah, sorry for butchering your name, Mobile.
I don't know if I have enough energy to do this one. Hopefully. Oh, I ran out. Okay. It's quite difficult to manage your energy here. I need another large. Okay. Okay, now I should be able to get this. Hopefully. There we go. See the power of Spring Ball here. I'm going to turn ice off because of its slow rate of fire. I actually need to destroy a Kago in this room, and that's going to take forever with Ice Beam on. Do I have the energy to do this spark? That's a good question. Probably not now. I definitely don't now. Maybe if I jump. Okay, that's no good. That's actually really unfortunate. I haven't been in this situation before. Can I don't want to risk dying to that Kago's bugs, so... That doesn't spawn anything. Okay. I don't think this is enough. Maybe? I don't want to risk it. That's definitely not enough. I never actually realized you could be stuck here with this low amount of energy. Okay, one more pass through the rim should do it. I should be able to get out of here after this. I got nothing out of that. Wow. This is unlucky. Okay, will this be enough? Okay, this should definitely be enough. There we go. Okay, now that that's over, we have Spazer. A lot of SM players turn their nose up at Spazer because Plasma Beam, most powerful beam in the game, just completely obsoletes it. You can't even equip them at the same time. But in this hack,
Spazer, I barely even know her.
In this hack, there is, I'm actually, wow, I'm gonna have to turn Spazer off right now because I need to shoot open this wave gate. But rest assured, Spazer's very good at redesign. It fires like a machine gun the way that the power beam does, but it does a lot more damage, so it's an extremely effective beam. Alright, I'm going to be laying this power bomb here to knock out the blockade up there and this little block down here. Let's get some items. And I'm going to get another Guardian over here. I actually don't think I have enough energy for the next spark I want to do, but I'm right near the ship, so I'm going to refill there. Okay, so in the room to the left of the landing site, there is an item in the ceiling. There's a super block you need to shoot out. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to be able to space jump up the hole. And then that takes you to a series of tunnels that ends with you having to do an infinite bomb jump to get to a power bomb. The thing about this super block is that it respawns. So you can't infinite bomb jump to get up into the hole. You don't have time to do that. So, what I'm going to do instead is carry a Shine Spark into that room from over here. That requires a pretty good stutter step to get going. You're kind of supposed to be shooting this super while space jumping even, because you can't shoot stuff, like you can't shoot your thing off screen. Alright, I got the block out with that diagonal shot. You see how it respawned just behind me? That's how much time you have. And this leads to this little power bomb, which I have to infinite bomb jump up here. Okay. There we go. Okay, now I can get out of here. There's also a little item that is in the landing site itself. I think you're also kind of supposed to have space jump for this, but you can get up here without too much trouble. So what I need to do is carry a Shine Spark over to a green gate switch, a remote switch that's going to open a gate. Sorry, I didn't mean to fall down. Hopefully this works. Okay, there we go. All right, that gate unlocks a missile high up in this room. A lot of convoluted stuff you have to do just for a missile. So I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything that's too super fancy of a strat for a while. So I want to try and talk about the history of running this hack. I'm a pretty big fan of Super Metroid hacks in general, and I do like to try and... that's not where you go. If I can just get up here. Okay, this is a very tight stutter. Kind of need space jump for this too. Okay, so Redesign is pretty much my favorite Super Metroid hack because of how much custom stuff was in it at the time and the level of difficulty. Oh, there's a monkey I need to hit here. It's very important that I don't forget this one. Because I actually have to go to another room to get that super missile. Okay, wow. Okay, so I'm pretty much the only one who's done 100% runs of this hack because nobody besides me has been crazy enough to attempt it. But a fair number of people have done any percent, and by a fair number I mean 4. Let's see if I can get the, no, I didn't get that. And it is actually extremely hard for me to do this and talk at the same time, I'm sorry. So speedruns of this hack started about, I think sometime in the middle of 2014. 2 members of the hacking community, Personitis and Metroid MST, got the bright idea to race this one day when they were bored. That community pretty commonly does. They organize races of hacks every so often, but Redesign's kind of a cut above the rest when it comes to the size of this hack, the amount of time it takes to complete. It's pretty much considered a behemoth. So them deciding to race it was pretty much the height of folly, we'll say. Shine Spike's very important to get through this door because this door locks behind you for some stupid reason. And I need the Shine Spark to get behind this wall to access this power bomb. I almost missed it, wow. I'd have had to loop back around if I missed that. Yeah, so pretty much racing Redesign is considered one of the dumbest things you could do. It took them, I think, a good 6-7 hours or so. So 5, 6, something like that the first time. And then they decided that once wasn't enough, they ended up doing it again. But when I got into running hacks, actually there's a cool glitch coming up here I should probably explain. So I keep sidetracking this. There's just so much going on. What I'm about to do in this room is get a I'm going to lure one of the zoomers down to the bottom door in the room, and I'm actually going to grapple clip through the door. Zoomer AI was, or the grapple AI of the Zoomer was changed in this hack to a value that's not, I don't think it's used in vanilla, but it's a very specific value that results in you latching onto an enemy slightly before its death. Editing the grapple AI value is how you produce effects like having an enemy die instantly to grapple, or having it be grappleable and mobile, or having it be grappleable and immobile. So generally, the grappleable rippers, they'll have it set to a certain value so that you can grapple them. Can I? No, I can't. But this unused value is pretty strange because you grapple briefly onto an enemy before it dies, and then you and then you delatch from it. But because grapple isn't coded very well, the game actually shifts your position in the instant that you latch onto the enemy. And this shift actually puts me through the gray door into the door tiles below. And what this is going to do is this is going to skip a large part of the area known as Criteria Depths. It's basically flooded criteria. It's underwater. You're supposed to do it suitless. I'm not skipping all of it, but I'm going to skip a large portion of it. And this will get me to Gravity Suit a lot faster. Once I have Gravity Suit, I can clean out the entire area of items without worrying. So that's kind of the goal here. But I'm going to use this zoomer to clip through the door. There's not really anything that you'll see in vanilla SM. And actually in any percent, because we come from the other direction, we actually use another zoomer to grapple clip through the gate. So that's an interesting way to do the gate glitch that you pretty much won't see anywhere else. Here's the last thing that I need to do before getting... Those are good missile drops. The last thing I need to do before getting... being able to get Gravity Suit is I need to fight Phantoon. In vanilla, Phantoon's in the wrecked ship. In Redesign, the wrecked ship doesn't actually exist. It's replaced by this tiny little area known as the Lost Caverns. It's basically a Lost Woods-esque puzzle. Pretty much stumps anyone that tries to pass through it for the first time. There are visual clues as to where to go, but I'm actually not even going to go the intended path. Quite a while ago now, it was discovered that near the end of the puzzle, you can actually kind of break the puzzle by going back and forth through a specific hallway. So basically, if you don't go the correct direction, then the game will they'll teleport you back to the start of the maze. But if you go back and forth through that hallway, it kind of breaks the logic of it and allows you to go to the end anyways. That saves 1 second, I timed it. Alright, here's a Phantoon fight. Hopefully I can get some missile drops so I can get a good kill here. So if you've seen the strat that's used in the new 80% route in vanilla, it'll look pretty familiar here, but there's kind of a twist to it. I should be able to do this in less than 2 rounds. There we go. So the vanilla strat for that, it's known as the Doppler effect, where if you're moving towards Phantoon, you can have multiple missiles strike him within a small frame window. This is actually a really hard trick I'm about to do. This is a Shrine Spark chain throughout Criteria Depths. If I can... do I have enough for this? I might have screwed it up. This is pretty difficult to hit. Okay, got the first part. I'm getting the first part. I keep trying to explain things and then there just is another hard thing I have to do. I don't think I'm going to get the chain here. This one's extremely difficult. Wow, I got it. Okay, never mind. I'm going to get the full thing, hopefully. This saves. I used to think this saved around a minute. I think it saves less than that, actually. But oh, I don't have enough. Oh, I do. Okay. Wow. Okay. So that was the full thing. That's really difficult to pull off. That saves a whole lot of underwater slogging, which. Pretty much the same rooms, not too much to say about it, but it would be much slower to do that without the Shine Spark chain. Some of those are extremely tight. These fish do 81 damage, I do not want to touch them. Okay, so gravity. Now that I have gravity, I can explore the rest of this area and get all the items here. I actually really like the gravity placement in Redesign because it is annoying that you have to do suitless, but after you're done with it, it's just such a feeling of relief that you get. You feel accomplished. Redesign's really good at making you feel accomplished, and I think that's why I like this hack so much. It's pretty hit or miss with whether people like it or not. Because of the difficulty, because of a lot of the unfairness, because of how annoying the physics are. But I actually really like the end result, even if there are a lot of bad design choices in it. Okay, okay. So this room, I have to hit three green gate switches to open 3 gates to get an energy tank. You're supposed to have space jump for this. Instead of having space jump, I'm going to try and do wall jumps off these ledges to get to the top here. This is pretty hard. Oh, almost got that one. That one's really hard because you have to do this one and then like immediately chain it once you get to the other side into a single wall jump. Okay, there we go. I figured out that it's better to do this top one first rather than the top left one because you can actually do a little spring ball hop to the lower ledge, which I missed, so now I do have to do it again. Nice. Alright. That's not too bad. There we go. Okay, there we go. I like to think that the 100% run of this is just one giant reminder as to why people don't run 100% of this. So kind of supposed to have space jump here as well. I'm just gonna IBJ this. Nothing too fancy. One of those blocks that I got kind of stuck in is actually a slope block that kind of sucks you into it. I think he made this room on purpose to be annoying. I think he just made this entire hack on purpose to be annoying. Okay, there were 2 crabs over top of each other. Okay, cool. I was not aware of that. coming in here solely to use this space to charge a Shine Spark to get up this shaft. So I've gotten 2 Guardians in Criteria so far. The third one, you're pretty much supposed to get after Gravity Suit, and you're supposed to take this giant loop around to get it. So I'll be collecting a bunch of items on the way while I'm doing that. These are 2 super blocks. So this is the initial area where you got bombs. Those 2 super blocks are supposed to serve as kind of like you blow them open, and now that path is open both ways forever. They're situated in a way where you can't shoot them going down. So, alright, I have a Shine Spark chain I need to do in here. There we go. I haven't dropped any of the big ones so far, so that's good. Coming up in this next room is a very, very annoying morph ball maze thing I have to do for power bombs. This is something that as soon as most people come into this, they just kind of nope out and they figure out what this is about. I actually got a couple of those difficult jumps really quickly from sheer luck. I have to get a spring ball jump out from one of these little niches into the top left. This is why this is really annoying. There we go. Okay. That's not the one. Okay. It's definitely one of the more annoying ones to get. mostly cleaned this area. I'm almost at the Guardian. I think. Yeah, okay. Should be good. So, 2015, early 2015, I think I'm finally undistracted enough to get back to this. That is when I got into running Redesign. And I always felt like I was going to at least attempt to speedrun this hack just to see what the route would be like. So Person and I spent many nights in Discord calls routing, coming up with ideas. The map of this game is huge. It has so many connections to it. It's not an easy job figuring out how to get all the Guardians the fastest and mapping out the ammo route and figuring out which sequence breaks were even human doable, which were worth it, which weren't. There's actually so much task-only stuff in Redesign that humans can't do. The any percent task is 123. And my any percent real-time run is 217. It's an entire hour difference of stuff that I can't reasonably do. Was 100% tasks made, I think, a year or so ago. It's actually really hard to bomb jump out of here because you can't see where your bomb is because you're in the bottom tile of the screen. Oops, I actually did a route change recently. I don't want to leave criteria that way. The way that I'm going to leave criteria... so normally if I went to the right, that would take me into... I did not mean to do that. That would take me into the intended path to Meridia. But all I can really accomplish there is... well, I can accomplish there if I go the intended path. I can take a very long path towards Botun that will get me space jump. That's kind of the next intended goal here. I'm going to get space jump in a very different way. So if I go to the left, there are still a couple items that I need to get this way. But going to the left, there is an elevator that takes you to West Meridia from here. And this elevator puts you at a spot that's behind the wrong side of a green gate. But if you glitch this gate, then you can pretty much go straight to where Botun is. It's kind of an unorthodox route, even for any percent, because for any percent it actually wouldn't be worth the amount of time spent to come all the way back this way. You'd actually just go straight through the intended part of Meridia and then cut to north here and do some other stuff. But here, since I have to pick up these extra items, it's actually worth it to go this way. So I've left myself 8 supers for this green gate glitch. Hopefully that's enough. This one's kind of awkward, again, because it's situated a large distance off the ground. Okay. There we go. I actually really should have saved before that. That would have been smart. Okay, this Shine Spark chain for this missile pack I'm about to get, I used to do this with Screw Attack, and one thing that Screw Attack does is it increases your jump distance by a huge amount. So this chain was much easier with Screw Attack. It's actually quite tricky to do without, but alright, we're good. I'm really glad I got that first try because I would have had to go back 2 rooms to try it again. One thing I really like about this route also, if you saw the 80% runs I've done, I've had to glitch that red gate from the other side, and I really hate doing that because of it being far off the ground. And I do find it more awkward to do that with a regular missile than with the super missile, so this route actually gets me out of doing that glitch, which is, I am actually worse at that one than the green one. One more thing I gotta do on the way to Botwoon is there's a very evil guardian in Meridia. This guardian, oh boy, where do we even start with this one? So there's a hallway with 4 gates, and each of these gates has an associated switch. 2 are in the ceiling, 2 are in the floor. I'm about to pass through the ceiling of this room. So these two gate switches I'm about to hit are the top ones. The bottom ones are hidden in a pretty evil place, and the hallway itself is behind a Dragon locked door. And once you get through that hallway, which I'll be doing pretty much near the end of the game, the guardian that you need is hidden in the ceiling with no hint. Probably the most evil one. You have to do so much convoluted stuff to get to it. Make sure I have a Shine Spark here to get through this speed wall. This is the Botwoon door. If you mess this up, you kind of have to take a big loop around, so I prefer not to do that. So I mentioned Botwoon has a weakness to Screw Attack. He has a little over 16,000 HP. Screw Attack does 8,000 damage per frame to him, so if I had Screw Attack, I could actually just spin jump into him and he'd be dead within 3 frames. I don't have Screw Attack in this route because of the timing that I decided to go to Meridia to get Space Jump. So I have to just shoot him with my normal beam, but this actually isn't that slow. Spacer does a pretty good amount of damage. And it's not as hard to hit him with Spacer as it is with some other beams because of the width. It actually does more damage than a super missile, which is why I'm not trying to use missiles on him. So now I have Space Jump. 100%, as I said, you don't get Screw Attack before Space Jump. So you actually have the unique aspect in this run is you get to see normal Space Jump by itself. That's significant because both Space Jump and Screw Attack give you a boost to your horizontal speed when you use them. So I'm essentially working with I'm sort of working with different physics having Space Jump, at least a different set of movement options, and you're working with very different movement once you have screw attack. As soon as these tubes start to crack, that is when the flag for them being gone is set. I want to make sure I get that one out because I want to go up through that tube much later in the run. There's a lot of things you have to remember for this. That spark is faster than space jumping, and my health isn't really concerned here because I'm going to hit up a recharge station. So this is an energy and missile recharge station, but actually the main reason that I use these is so that I'm going to go down to Norfair and farm some bugs for super missiles and power bombs, and having full energy and missiles is actually going to dramatically increase the chance that I'm going to get supers and powers. So it's actually not directly for the ammo that those stations give me. Okay, this little passage, this hidden passage, is the way to get to Lower Norfair, which is also hidden in this area. I'm not going to go to Lower Norfair via that way. The way I'm going to get to it is actually completely ridiculous. I'm going to go in through one of the back exits. There are multiple exits from Lower Norfair. I call this reverse Lower Norfair. And it's just completely insane. So I don't think I've explained Morphlock as a mechanic in this hack yet. Morphlock is a feature, so to speak, that some SM hacks have added. And I gotta make sure I get this. Basically what it does is there are special Morphlock tiles that when you pass over them, they set a state in which your up and down buttons are locked, so you can't unmorph. And then there are also morph unlock tiles placed at the outside of the tunnels that it's in, that once you pass over those, the Morphlock state is removed and you can freely morph and unmorph again. Now this is significant. There are a lot of items that actually use, or there are a lot of items that try and force you to do ridiculous morph ball puzzles, IBJs, things like that. Morphlock just makes it so that you can't simply bypass the intention of the puzzle by unmorphing and jumping, which is, most people view that as a pretty lame way to force the puzzle to be done. It's not looked on very highly by most hack players, but it is a thing that has to be dealt with in this hack. And in some cases, it is possible to break Morphlock, or rather, it's possible to skip the tiles that are responsible for setting the Morphlock state. So the way that I'm going to go into Lower Norfair, I'm going to go back to the grapple room. May have noticed, if you're observant, that when I went into the grapple room, there was kind of an area behind the Chozo statue where I got grappled. And this, and like the room scrolled too, so there's obviously more to the room than just getting grappled and getting out. So what you're supposed to do is come out of Lower Norfair that way, fall through a crumbled block that's in this tunnel that's above the Chozo statue. The room beyond that, that's in Lower Norfair proper, it actually has a tunnel that has a super block. Basically, it's there's a part of the tunnel where if you're going through it the backwards way, you would have to unmorph and shoot a super missile to get through. And there are morph lock tiles there that prevent you from doing so, or at least they're supposed to. But there's actually one specific morph lock tile that I am able to do a spring ball jump over and be able to unmorph in the tunnel anyways. And it's going to look ridiculous when I get to it because it's just going to look like I'm blindly kind of I'm just like randomly springballing through the tunnel and not making progress for no reason. Like, it's gonna look like, hey, why don't you just unmorph and shoot the super? It should look simple. Morphlocks, the way Morphlock work is kind of invisible, so it's gonna look silly. But the spring ball jump that I have to do is actually pixel perfect. It's frame perfect, possibly pixel perfect. I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it is frame perfect. And here's Screw Attack, by the way. Screw Attack's pretty insane. This shakes up the movement a lot. Now I can fly for real. Actually gonna hit this up, I think. Just in case. Okay, this is called the Indiana Jones missile. There's a powerbomb blockade I had to get rid of because this boulder can break through these enemy breakable blocks, but if it hits the powerbomb blocks, it'll smash. So that's an interesting little puzzle to figure out how to get those missiles. I need to make sure I get a charge through here. This is a little sort of speed boost shortcut to the area escaping grapple column. I'm going to open this door for a reason you'll see in a second. Or maybe 15 seconds or so. This is actually really difficult to get into. But there's this Guardian in this tunnel here, and I had an old any percent route that used a gate glitch to get it. It's behind blue gate facing the incorrect way. But in 100% and in the more recent route of any percent that I've been doing, it's much better to just leave this until you come back having a wave beam, because you have to come back this way anyways. Okay, this is the reason that I opened that door. It's a pretty neat little thing. It's not required for anything, but it is a way to get up here. I'm at a point in the run where I prefer to use missiles on those purple doors to save super ammo for green gate glitches. So there's a lot in this run. I haven't counted how many there are in 100%. But I want to say is at least 7, maybe 6, I can't remember. So I'm actually going to take a save here because I'm coming up on the trick I was talking about to get into reverse lower and over. And one unfortunate thing about this trick, besides how incredibly precise it is if you skip the morph lock tile and then you touch a morph lock tile when you're unmorphed, it still disables your up and down inputs. So you won't be able to morph. You won't be able to get out of the tunnel, so you'll be stuck. And don't want that to happen. If it happens, I'll have to reset. So that save is definitely worth it here. But one thing contributing to how annoying this trick is to do is that the way collision detection works in this game is there is a collision oscillator that I believe its function is to... I'm going to do a ceiling clip here. I believe its function is to save processing power. So basically on odd frames, the odd columns are checked for collision, and on even frames, the even columns of tiles are checked. So yeah, this is gonna... I just got it second try. Oh my god. Okay, so I was trying to prep people for that looking extremely stupid because it's ridiculously precise, but I just got it really fast anyways. But I have spent 20 minutes trying to get that trick before. Because the thing about the collision oscillator is to get that, you actually have to touch the morphlock tile in question for one frame. So you have to make sure that, or you can't make sure, but it has to be a frame where the collision detection is not checking that column of tiles. So basically, it's frame perfect, and there's a 50% chance that it will just not work. So the fact that I got that second try is absolutely insane. So going into lower and upper backwards, it's a little more significant in an 8% than in Hundo, but it's still, I think, around 4-minute time save. Because what this allows me to do is pretty much getting out of lower Norfair. My goal in lower Norfair is to defeat Ridley, and defeating Ridley lets me defeat GT, Golden Chorizo. Defeating GT is what's required to get out of the rooms that I get trapped in. So it's a little bit of a boss rush. Once I defeat the bosses, I'll be able to make my way to the Guardian that's in lower Norfair, so obviously required to beat the game. And that is closer to the start of lower Norfair, so I'll basically be looping around to the start throughout this. So it's actually a lot better for routing, even with having to collect items. It's better for routing than I start from the tail end. So these purple bridges are really annoying. I'm actually going to get hit by these enemies before trying to cross them on purpose, so that I get the iframes, so that if there's one at the end of a bridge that I don't notice, I'll have iframes, I'll just run through it and won't be able to knock me down. And actually, a big reason that in 100% I get space jump, I go out of my way to Meridian to get space jump early, is because in any percent, you get space jump long after you go to lower Norfair. You actually go to lower Norfair first, because it's more efficient to do that as long as you're not collecting items. But a lot of these items, like too many of the items in Norfair, want you to space jump, and it's just too large of a time loss to try and get them without. Hello. This is ridiculous. There we go. I don't remember the last time that took me that many. But gate glitches are also very precise. Okay, I am very low on energy. I'm going to save because Ridley's coming up. Ridley's extremely deadly in Redesign. His body damage has been up from 40 to 120, and this is mostly to offset his secret pseudo screw attack weakness. Pseudo screw attack is the effect you get when you spin jump while holding charge beam. And it really shouldn't be. So that does a lot of damage to him. X Factor's Weight Beam Special Beam Attack, which you'll see here, also does a lot of damage to him. So I'll be trying to hit him with those during the fight since they don't really have much else in the way of beams. And I missed a particle. That sucks because it means I can't actually shoot until the particle's gone. Yeah, so pseudo screw attacks, probably the best way to damage him. You get hit for 120 damage every time you do it. Unless you do it in an extremely precise way where it doesn't hit you, and that's not really feasible to do, honestly. That was almost cool. I just got hit by the body on this. This is not one of my better Ridley fights. That's actually, that was a good X Factor. That's what I wanted to happen. They all four of those hit him. Okay, I'm gonna do some supers and then a pseudo to finish him off, and I'm gonna try to get him to die here. There we go. Fight could have gone better, but he is extremely deadly. Okay, so now the game is going to pretty much dump me straight into the Golden Chorizo fight. All the doors are locked, I can't go anywhere else. So after GT it is. And the room is very different, it's a lot more deadly. There are spikes underneath enemy breakable blocks throughout the room. Basically enemy breakable. If an enemy touches it, then it will break. That's the only way to break those. This room is basically set up so that you can do the classic AI exploit. If you're familiar with Super Metroid speedruns, you may know about this. But basically, it's where you get him into the back corner, and he cannot damage you from this point. And you can still actually do that, despite the way this room is set up. As long as he doesn't break this this tile in front of me, we're good. So I actually shoot him to death with just my beam here. It is a little bit faster to super missile his back, try and do X Factors on him. But the reason that I fight him with the beam is obviously it's much safer, but the ammo expended trying to fight him faster is not worth the amount of time that I'd have to farm to compensate for it. At any percent, I'd be pretty low on ammo at this point. I'm needing some for gate glitches and such. And 100%, I actually need this ammo to open doors and clear blocks and stuff to access more items. So either way, just shooting him like this pretty much wins. There we go. Just for good measure, there's a power bomb in this room. Okay, so any person that's going to go out the right door and get spit out to the bottom of the room with all those crumble bridges. 100% I'm going to go left because now that I've killed Ridley and GT, there are some unlocked doors in this area that's going to allow me to get a couple items that I couldn't get before. So I need to take a couple more loops through this area. Oh, and that gate glitch that I did earlier, that saves like... I feel like that saves less than a minute of running around. Actually, no, I'm wrong. It saves a Ninja Pirate fight. So... But it's not too big of a deal. It doesn't... What I'm trying to say is it doesn't skip a major part of the game. It's just a few rooms that take some time to do. This is going to be a very bad tour transition. Okay, a bit of a puzzle here. So one of these pipe structures, that one's vulnerable to power bombs. This one I need to speed boost through. So I need to get that shine spark to do that, so I can have enough running space here to take the spark over here and go through this tunnel. There are no slopes that I can work with here, so the space I get is the space I have. That is a very out-of-the-way missile, very convoluted to get for only a 2-pack. Redesign kind of does this a fair bit, where it has these really convoluted puzzles that just end up giving you a 2-pack of missiles. The reward system here is not very good sometimes. Not doing too much here, besides cleaning out lower Norfair. I do get Plasma Beam back here. That is your reward for defeating Ridley and Gold Teresa. So this little area is, oh boy. Actually, after I get Plasma Beam, there's a little interesting thing to note. Also, I don't think I fully explained how Screw Attack works. I don't think I got around to it. So, because Screw Attack sends you such a ridiculous distance, it'd be pretty bad if your movement was limited to being able to jump basically nowhere and being able to jump across an entire room. So what was changed with Screw Attack is actually you have to hold the run button for it to be active. Otherwise, you'll just get whatever your normal spin jump is, whether it's space jump or not space jump. This sort of it's kind of a double-edged sword, I feel. It sort of adds control while making control more difficult. It's actually very difficult to do optimal movement through a lot of late game rooms because of how finicky the game is with whether you were running when you started jumping or not. Okay, so I am going to shoot out this super block, this one super block, and leave the room. There's a missile here, down here that I'm going to grab, but I shot that super block because that is the bottom of an 8 super barricade that if you go through the front entrance of Lower Norfair, you were supposed to be able to get through that barricade. So you need at least 8 supers. It's this ridiculous ammo check. And when I went that way in any percent before I learned how to do reverse Lower Norfair, it's pretty awful to miss one of the supers in that tunnel. because it basically meant you had to go looking for however many supers you had used before the one you missed. And it made ammo here extremely tight. But the bottom one is the trigger for them all to disappear forever. So it saves quite a few supers for me to just knock out that bottom one. Leave the room, come back. So I'm kind of, instead of going straight to where the Guardian is, which is what any percent would do, I'm going to go backwards through rooms that I would normally be going forwards through in the intended way here. So you're going to see a lot of green, red door caps instead of closed behind me, which is nice because I don't have to use the ammo to open them. Holy lag. That was a lot of lag. That's, wow, I totally missed the door. That's not the right way. I haven't done this room backwards that many times, in my defense. I actually don't think that power bomb was high enough. No, it wasn't high enough. Wow, that is one row of blocks to the left. Alright, so I'm near the beginning. This is part of the forward route. There are two pretty much useless rooms beyond this point, and I can get to the Guardian from the other room I came, so I'm just going to double back. Okay, this is where the Guardian is. Both of these doors that lead to it, you can come from either direction, but both of them are locked until, I'm pretty sure they're locked until you defeat Gold Teresa. Okay, now, going left here, there are two paths in this room. The top, which is the obvious one, the bottom one, which is not obvious. It's under powerbomb blocks. Both are exits for Lower North and both have items in the end. However, this path, I'm taking the top path because this is like a rising acid maze. If I take too long in this North Pole tunnel, acid will catch up to me. Not that that really matters that much. You end up shine sparking up out of here, and your shine spark takes you up through the Magmore tunnel, and it breaks speed blocks in the floor of that tunnel. That's, wow, I actually went the wrong way. What is going on? I don't remember the last time I went the wrong way. I'm having a lot of those moments today. Yeah, so you shine spark out of here. These break speed blocks in the floor. You need these to be out to be able to get the power bomb here. Outside of crazy blue suit shenanigans that the TAS does, that's the only way to get those power bombs. So you pretty much have to come out Lower Norfolk that way. Can I spring ball to the correct height, please? Okay, so the bottom item I'll be getting as part of my West Norfolk link, which I'm starting now. There's one interesting thing I do here, which is, let's see, what room is it in? It's in the room that's on, it's on the way to Croc, that big junction. This is a good place to stock up too. Wait, I did this wrong. There's a miscellaneous here. Oops. A super missile. Let's try it again. Okay, there we go. So you need to take that Shine Spark through there to get this super missile. This is actually the first time I've gone down that door with a speed booster. This is the first time I've been able to do that. So for some reason that I don't really understand, that gray door, the top of it that you go down through, that's a Crocomire log. The bottom of it is a Gold Teresa log. I have no idea why. You can't go back through until you beat in GT. I don't really see any reason for that, but I'm glad that it's unlocked for me at this time, so that I don't have to loop around after making that mistake. Nice laser door. That's a sound glitch that happens sometimes. You can also get a door that sounds like bubbling water when you open it. This room's got a pretty tricky puzzle to it. You need to do a chain spark through this door. Did I screw it up? I think I did. Alright. You need to do a chain spark through this purple door. I'm just gonna sit right open to get it out of the way. The problem is if you touch lava, it removes your shine spark. So you have to time it with the tide that doesn't happen. This is a vanilla mechanic. It's kind of interesting. Lava, you are not supposed to be able to shine spark or charge your shine spark or do anything related to this or in lava. So what the game does is it actually, if you have speed booster equipped, only if you have speed booster equipped, the game makes you unable to run in lava. There's a really, really difficult thing I can do. Oh, okay, I didn't get it. I wasn't even close. But if you crouch for a Shine Spark at the exact right moment, I don't know if it's frame perfect there. It feels like it, based on your speed. But you can just retain your speed boost blue suit and just fall through the entire row of speed blocks. It's probably the hardest swag strat I know of 100%.
Do we have time for a donation?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so Twitch Trailer gives us $6.20 and says, let's make this 800. And I say, yes, Twitch Trailer, let's donate and make this a big number. Yay! Thank you for donations.
Alright, so we're going back to the speed booster escape area. This is the aftermath of the escape. I really like the attention to detail in this hack. It's caved in here. You finally have access to this reserve tank. This is different from Vanilla's, where you can just trigger the speed boost escape again and again. If you go to the speed booster room. But in this, you actually can't revisit the speed booster room. Luckily, there's nothing in there besides the speed booster, which you need to get out. So, I went there wrong. Okay. So that missile that I grabbed a couple rooms ago was actually the missile that was on the lower path that was coming at a lower north. So I do have that now. And it's pretty convenient to grab at this time because of needing to go through the speed boost escape again. Okay, so this puzzle, I just got a Morphlock skip in this tunnel. This one's much easier to do. If you, okay, this is annoying. This is what I want the Morphlock skip for. It's supposed to be an IBJ puzzle, basically. It's supposed to be difficult IBJs off of crumble blocks, having to time them properly so you don't fall through. Did I just... Okay, now we're still good. Okay. I thought I got myself ejected for the entire thing. We're still good. But you really... this puzzle's really painful to do without breaking Morphlock. And this one is a lot easier. There's a lot more leniency. There's a lot fewer Morphlock tiles placed there, much less attention to detail there. But that's all for a 2-pack, which, again, that is an extremely painful puzzle to do normally. Why is the reward a 2-pack? The world may never know. Alright. Cute little gate glitch. That, I don't remember who found that. But you can do that with Charge Beam with that particular gate. Because of how you're elevated in relation to the gate button. I don't know why that works, but it does. Alright, this room, this is a very special room. There's this huge, really painful, really painful morph ball maze that you see throughout the room. But you can just come over here, super these blocks in the wall, and skip it. So, for a long time I asked myself, what is the point of this horrible maze? Like, I couldn't even figure out how you're supposed to get through it, what you're intended to have. And Drew, the author of this hack, actually answered me at one point. He said that it was intended to be a possible early power bomb. So what you would have to do is, what you'd have to do to get this early power bomb is do an infinite bomb jump all the way up the shaft that gets you to wave beam to break the block at the top to be able to get through, and then do the IBJ all the way up again to actually get up top with the block broken. So get wave beam, and then use wave beam to open that gate. and then go into the room, and then without high jump, without spring ball, bomb jump through that morph maze. And this requires a lot of IBJing. It requires a lot of transitions from diagonal IBJs into straight IBJs braced against a wall. It's stuff that's like very difficult to position in time, and most of it is set up so that if you fail one, you either die or you get sent back a huge amount of the puzzle and have to do a lot over again. So it's absolutely horrible to do. And while this for an early power bomb that's actually really close to Croc himself, well, there's some significance to getting power bombs without killing Crocomire. So when you kill Crocomire, it actually changes quite a few room states that you wouldn't really think to go to. The main one question is the lava lake on the way to Speed Booster. So I got grapple before going to Speed Booster because you needed to cross that lava lake, right? There actually is a way to cross it without grapple, and that is IBJing out of the lava lake, which the TAS actually does this to get early Speed Booster. And the reason the TAS can do this, TAS can do something that humans can't do, and that is, this is kind of ridiculously in it. A TAS can break the water line with an IBJ. So IBJing in liquids is actually human doable in Redesign. And you're actually really not that slow when you do it in lava. It's not that bad. But as soon as you break the liquid line, transition to air, you sink like a rock.
There's another donation. Do we have time for this?
Sure.
Okay, so Dusty Wizard gave $24.32, and he says, I've been watching all day. Thank you for the stream, and thank you for doing this for a good cause. Heart. And we say heart to you too, Dusty Wizard. Thanks.
This is actually like the one exception to West Brainstorm that I didn't grab on my first trip through. This is because this is a water room, and I want a gravity seed for it. You can do this room by ice climbing the fish without gravity seed, but it's very slow, so I just routed it to here. And this actually works out because I'm going to go from here to the intended entrance of Red Brinstar to get all the items that I missed there. So I was talking about that weird early powerbomb room, and how it allows you to skip Crocomire, and what the task does to IBJ out of the lava lake is it transitions from lava into air, which a human can't do. So TAS can get Speed Booster early and basically break the game. Doesn't have to get grapple until much later, which means the 2 trips that I took to get to Lower Norfair via the grapple entrance, or exit, whatever, TAS can do that in 1 trip, and it's much more efficient. But the reason this powerbomb is a game changer is the state, like what leaving Croc alive does to the lava lake room is it makes the tide higher so that you can actually reach the other side with a pure lava IBJ. You don't have to transition to air. So that is actually human doable. So if you manage to get this early powerbomb, you can go to the lava lake, you can do this IBJ to get early Speed Booster, and you can break the game from there. This is a lot slower than the way that the TAS does it because you have to get wave. You can also get charge beam to do that gate glitch that I did, but wave is actually faster. I found out. And then you have to do that awful powerbomb, which takes a while. And then you have to do the lava IBJ, which you aren't really losing time over the task at that point, but it is slow to bring it and there's this nice little section of force damage back here to get a Guardian. There are only really 2 instances of force damage in the game. One is the heat run, which I skipped by taking another force damage by doing a bomb jump out of a spike pit. The other is this. This is not as bad as it looks, but this area is pretty painful if you don't have a good amount of health. I've actually died here in 80% trying to get this guy. So yeah, early speed booster, for any percent, I wanted to essentially mimic the task route as best as I could and go to Lower Norfair, getting to grapple like in one trip, having everything I needed already. This missile is so annoying. You have to navigate these Samus Eaters, and that sucks actually. I didn't really need that one. Because that is a... that one spits me. Okay. That's really annoying. I'm gonna probably go through the down one anyways, because it spits me downwards. Oh, wow. Is it not active after I get eaten by it once? That's weird. I still don't understand that whole area. What I really wanted to do was avoid the ceiling Samus Eater because for whatever reason those are active for twice as many frames as the floor ones. No idea why. And this is the third and final Breadstar Guardian, which I don't know why it's so close to the spike one. It's weird. They're usually pretty spread out between like west, central, and east of an area. But in Breadstar, the two on the east are very close together. They're actually literally one room apart. How am I doing on Guardians? I want to recap. Have everything in Couturier, everything in Breadstar now, everything in Norfair. So all I need are the 3 in Meridia, and aside from Botchroon, I really haven't touched Meridia at all. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Guardians. I'm on my way back into Meridia. First thing I'm going to do when I get there is go straight to Dragon, because Dragon, defeating Dragon unlocks a bunch of doors that you need to get Guardians and items and things and stuff. So that's what you want to do first. And now I'm actually taking the exit out. This was the exit that I went in as an entrance. There's no intended to start. So this little shaft I'm in, this is at the bottom of the tube that I broke in Meridia much earlier. This is a really quick way back into a part of it closer to Dragon. So yeah, I was talking about trying to mimic the task route. Do Lower Norfair earlier, grapple in one go, etc. You can actually completely skip grapple that way, which is also killing in its own right. The problem with that is you pretty much need grapple beam. You need either grapple beam or speed booster or you pretty much need grapple beam to get gravity in any timely manner. Skipping grapple in Criteria is like just about the slowest thing you can ever do in this game. I did it in a low percent run. It required a 22-minute long underwater infinite bomb jump, where if I dropped one, I would have to start over. That was That was one of the worst things I've done in this game. So going to Lower Norfair with gravity in this instance is not an option. And this poses a problem for a real-time runner because the Guardian in Lower Norfair is in a room full of lava. So getting it without gravity is kind of a tall order for human. Atas actually does some really crazy, like, I don't know how to describe them. They're like paired diagonal bomb jumps that kind of like the knockback from them leads into each other. It's like tag team bomb jumps. It's really weird. I do recommend checking out both the 80% and 100% tasks for this game because they're absolutely insane. They're not difficult to find on YouTube. That aside, that was a big reason that route didn't work out for 80%. But there are a couple of side categories that route's still useful for. And having to do all of those tricks in a row is just extremely, extremely painful. I'm actually amazed that it's possible for a human to do that. But yeah, so that's like the depth to which Drew thought out stuff in this hack is he actually intended for you to do some incredibly painful stuff to get this one power bomb, to skip this one mini boss that changes the state of this really important room that lets you get the item early and blah 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 blah. Like I don't know how he came up with this stuff, and this was 11, 12 years ago that he wanted this to be a thing. Okay, another reward, like basically the main item reward that you're supposed to get from Dragon, not directly, but is now accessible once you defeat Dragon, is the beam combo item. And that is what goes in the spring ball slot. So you're supposed to defeat Dragon to open a locked door. It's very far away from here. And it takes you through a very long tunnel. You have to bomb every block out individually to be able to hit this switch. And Movie DD recently found, I forget where I'm supposed to do this one. If you fire this shot upright at the correct height, you can actually hit that blue switch without having to go through all that. So you can actually get beam combo early, which means I'll be able to stack all my beams. So I'll have the most powerful beam combo without having to settle for less. Sand pits are all fun redesign, by the way. I don't really think I need to explain sand. Just trust me on that. So yeah, there we go, early beam combo. And that wasn't a thing until a few months ago, which I found pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm just going to take the opportunity to equip my beams. So the reason you're not supposed to be able to shoot that button with wave by like just at all really is because there's actually there's a shutter enemy. There are shutter enemies that are lining the ceiling to like protect the gate button. That are supposed to be invulnerable to everything, I believe. So you're not supposed to be able to shoot that with wave beam. But if you shoot at a specific time, or if you shoot at a specific height such that the shutter enemy isn't on screen and therefore not able to be interacted with, the gate button's not an enemy, so it doesn't function the same way. You can, or does it actually? Probably make this weird. Also, say hello to Microwave Shrimp. given that you're supposed to do Dragon before going to Lower Norfair, you're not supposed to have Plasma here. You can do this route. Like, there's nothing stopping you from going to Norfair first. And it gets you Plasma. So that's kind of a neat little reward, I guess, is being able to microwave Dragon.
Do you have 2-3 seconds for an announcement?
Sure.
Just wanted to let you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on front page. So hi Twitch, what's up?
What is up?
So thanks to the Twitch charity stream team for giving us so much exposure on the front page over the weekend. It's going to be on and off throughout, and I mean, thank you so much. Thanks to Ali, who actually took care of this for us and has been in talks with me for to get this working. So thank you guys, you're really helping us out.
Okay, so now that I've killed Dragon, all this stuff is now accessible. I'm gonna loop around here to go through a locked door that is guarding a gate switch. And then I have to loop around again to get into the room where the gate switch had a gate blocking my way to get to a Guardian here. This is, like, there's so much looping that he put in here. So I'm blowing up this tube. There are a lot of glass tubes in Redesign. They each set a different event bit, so... and that room doesn't look like there's a point to blowing it up, but there is. You'll see when I go back through it. Like, honestly, despite this hack's difficulty, the amount of detail that is put into it is insane. Despite its unfairness, I guess I should say, its balance issues. But there's just so much depth to it that just keeps me wanting to play it. And the fact that there are multiple glass Meridia tubes, and that each one, and some of them. Actually, some of them are useless to blow up. There's one that you can blow up that doesn't actually lead to anything. But this one has a fake ceiling I can jump through. All right, so this is kind of oh, I forgot about this. Whoops. I always tell myself not to forget about this one. I have 2 speed boosts through this door to get this vessel. There's one item tucked away up here that's not too interesting, but the couple items I'm about to get after it, I find what was done with it very odd. So. After this, I'm going to get a 1 super pack that is behind, it's behind a ramp room, which is behind a Dragon lock door. I don't really get why you'd lock a 1 super pack, single super missile, behind a Dragon lock door. It doesn't make sense to me. But what's adjacent to this, what's also in the room that this locked door is in, is a Shine Spark chain puzzle to break those speed blocks that like basically that blockade you saw on the floor briefly. That has a 2 super pack down there. You do not have to kill Dragon to get those. That's a green door in front of it. So this is the 1 pack. This is what's required to kill Dragon for it. And I always thought it was weird that Dragon unlocked the 1 pack, but not the 2 pack. But like, what you can do with this room is you can just charge a Shine Spark in here and skip this whole puzzle down here. Like, if you go to the left here, there's a bunch of slopes with minimal space that you're clearly supposed to Shine Spark chain. So I'm kind of wondering, like, if he did that intentionally, if he put that Dragon lock not really for the super, but for the shortcut to being able to Shine Spark through here. A lot of this stuff in this hack I really wonder about. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's all of East Meridia cleaned out. So now I'm gonna go over to West Meridia. And on the way there, I'm gonna get the final reserve take. Little bit of the Shine Spark chain. There's one annoying thing about it, and that's that I have to shoot a door in the ceiling while holding this Shine Spark chain. The reason that's annoying is because if you press up in midair, it's going to activate your Shine Spark, so you have to be careful not to do that. I used to forget this all the time when shooting the super up for this door. Don't do it in midair. Land on the platform first, even though it's slower, no waste frames on the Shine Spark timer. Land on the platform, because otherwise you'll just use the spark. I'm pretty sure he intended it to be that way, which is really sneaky. Alright, so after this, you'll notice the screen shake. There's another weird earthquake thing. This signifies that, so there's this tube. There's this tube that I haven't like shown on screen because there's no reason to at any point during the run. This tube is not broken until you defeat Ridley. And it has a Guardian on the other side of it. This trips up pretty much everyone who plays this. Because like, normally you go to Meridia first, because that's what the vanilla game wants you to do. It seems like what Redesign wants you to do. You go to Meridia first and you see this tube, you have no idea how to open it. Maybe you've done everything in Meridia possible and it's still won't open. You have to defeat Ridley for the tube to break. I don't have a problem with it, it's cool, but it's just really strange. It doesn't make any logical sense. There's no hints, it's just... I don't know, this game sometimes. Okay, there's one Guardian left, and it is the evil Guardian I've been talking about that's behind the 4 gates, and even after going through the 4 gates, you still have no hint as to where it is beyond that. What's really evil is actually there's a power bomb pack in that area behind the gates, so you might think that that's your reward. Like Redesign actually, it actually conditions you into thinking that a situation like that is possible. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong side. So that green gate that I just showed on the screen briefly, that's a nice graphical image. That is that's a very interesting gate for any percent. You notice that I just opened a green gate before seeing that one. That green gate connects to the turbo tube to North Fair, which is near Crockett's area. So what any percent actually does is it actually uses that to break into Meridia after doing Lower North Fair. This this Shine Spark chain to get up the sandfall. This saves 5 seconds at a super missile, because I don't have to open a green door. Pretty neat. But yeah, so that that green gate ends up necessitating in the fastest 90% round a double green gate glitch, and you have like 6 or 7 supers to do it off of. It's really rough. It kills a lot of rounds and it's near the end. It's pretty awful. Okay, so this is where the bottom switches of these 4 gates are hidden. Now I've got all the gates out. Now I can go claim my prize at the end. It's actually pretty easy to mess up that bomb jump and fall in the sandfall. It's pretty frustrating though, because you waste a bunch of time. You have to fall all the way through the sandfall and then come back up the room. Alright, here's the power bomb I was talking about. So you might actually be fooled into thinking this is your reward, because Redesign is really good at the, really, that's it, all I get is 2 missiles or power bomb or whatever. It's really good at pulling that trick. So it seems like it's pulling that here. There's no hint for that. There's no hint for jumping into that ceiling. You can X-ray it, but it's like you're pretty much reduced to X-raying the entire planet looking for the Guardians at that point. Okay, so now I have them all. Now I can go to Terrain as soon as I finish this cleanup. This missile in this room, for any percent, this helps the red gate glitch in this room a lot. This is actually the same room that connects to the top path hallway on the way to botch room in the first round. Alright, so now that I've done that, instead of going to terrain, I still have a bunch of stuff to do, so I'm going to go back this way. I'm actually going to put this very long hallway to very good use. So there is, okay, I kind of messed this up. Let's do that again. I'm about to do, I'm about to get an energy tank. The last energy tank is the longest Shine Spark puzzle in the game. And this isn't where you're intended to start it. But if you start it here, you have to do this very difficult, oh, did I? Yeah, I ran out. You have to do this very difficult charge in this short slope here, and then you have to fall through the sand properly so as not to waste your Shine Spark frames. So this is a much harder way to do it. It's much more costly if you fail it. The other way to do it is from a room down below that has a bunch of speed blocks that you have to do another puzzle to clear, and I don't want to do that because that's slow, so I'm going to do this instead. Okay, so this is basically like the middle of the puzzle. Hopefully I can still get the charge from here. Please, okay. You have to fall down here, go across here, do all this, and just hope that you don't screw up after all this. The real kicker at the end of this, that's not a green door, totally fine. The real kicker is, after you do all that, this bug can mess you up. So I like to jump and kill him to make sure that doesn't happen. He's kind of a jerk. There we go, last energy tank. Alright, I still have one more Shine Spark puzzle to do. That wasn't the last one, but it is one of the most painful ones. Probably the only one that really rivals this is the Criteria Supers near the elevator. Now to do this, I kind of thought that you had to come from the top of Watchman's area, because you can't really get back up there. It turns out you can, by doing these tricky wall jumps. It took me a while to think of these, but now I have a way up here. So You're like supposed to like have to loop all around to retry this, but you can get up that way, which is cool. Because retrying this sucks. Yeah, okay. Super glad I don't have to loop all the way through a bunch of rooms to retry this, because this is annoying. So the sandfall of being above water, where those wall jump walls are, those actually prevent you from space jumping. So you actually have to make use of wall jump after getting space jump. This is the final room of it, but it's also really annoying because if that snail is in a certain position, it can actually be solid, and you can just bonk it in with the shiny spark and never do this over. Alright, so I do believe that was the last shiny spark puzzle. Alright, I have almost all the items now, and these in particular, these are very hidden. Your hint for that is basically the fact that that sand pit doesn't cut off at the bottom of the screen. I feel like I've found a faster way to get through this sand, but I don't remember. Okay, so, alright, this little like one-way elevator is a cute way to get out of here. And it's like, what I really like about this elevator is that you get up to this one, and you don't realize, hey, that was the exit to an elevator. That's why the tiles looked like that. That's cool. Okay, so that should have been the last item that I picked up, hopefully, if I didn't forget anything, fingers crossed, because this hack has 148 items. It's supposed to be all 100. Each planet really just all of it is super convoluted. I'm actually not even sure how I managed to remember it. I've never kept notes for this category other than one period I had where I got 99.3% 2 runs in a row. And I realized that this was just going to keep happening unless I did something about it. So I drilled the route into my head at the time by making an individual split for every single item. I hate doing that because I don't like to distract myself by splitting that much. So I've since done away with that, and I've changed the route since then. So I was worried that might necessitate doing it again, but I've been somewhat okay with it. So hopefully I got everything. We'll see. We will see. Alright, so Turian. Turian's actually pretty straightforward. Each room that I go through has a requisite amount of Metroids that I have to kill in order for the door to unlock. It's a different number for each room. So the first one is like 6, this one's 2. In most of the rooms, the Metroids respawn infinitely. This room is extremely laggy, especially if you get more than 3 on you. I try not to do that. I also opt to use missiles on these guys rather than supers because these guys have an abysmal super drop rate. You almost never get them. So like my maxes right now, my maxes at 100% should be 300 missiles, 30 supers, 30 power bombs. I'm not going to be anywhere near 30 supers by the end of Terrain. Okay, you can actually skip killing the Metroids in this room. You can skip an entire other room by doing a block ball into this gate. I'm pretty sure that's intended. That saves a little bit of time. Okay. Also, I'm a firm believer that if you see the way that I'm getting these Metroids off me with the bomb, I'm pretty sure that is just the best way to get them off you. I recommend it for vanilla players who are struggling as well. I feel like it's the only way that works in this because your morph ball roll speed is so slow. What a lot of people like to do is they'll lay a bomb and then they'll roll on the ground through the bomb to get Metroids off them. And the main problem I have with that is that you can't shoot your ice beam immediately if you're in morph ball. The other problem is, in Redesign specifically, your roll speed is but these Metroids, before I figured out how to get them off me in my first playthrough, I had to save state my way through this because I just didn't understand. These are so fast that it is possible to get through Turian without a single one latching onto you, but it is very, very difficult and unlikely. They're just so ridiculously fast. That's really the main thing about these guys is that they're faster. But besides that, just deal with them like normal Metroids. It's just you have to group pretty much all. This last room requires 3. Oh, wait. I was expecting a third one to come and he didn't. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can get the Metroid skip. Pretty well known trick in vanilla. Physics and room layout are very different. So one thing that makes it a bit less stressful in Redesign is, I guess, one, the fact that you have screw attack, and two, the fact that so normally in vanilla, you're if you run through the door transition with the Metroid on your head, it screws up your physics for the rest of the game. And you're essentially perma-slowed to the speed that you're at when the Metroid's on you. Until you save and reset. So that's a big time loss in vanilla if you run through the door with the Metroid on you. In Redesign, because of, I actually don't know why, but it doesn't happen in Redesign. I thought it was because of the way that space jump and screw attack reset your speed values, but you don't even have to use them. So I don't know the reason why. So I just realized I have 29 power bombs. It's not a very good sign. I feel like I may have missed one. Oh, you're not done. Rainbow Beam is a bit different in this hack. Instead of doing the 300 damage it does in vanilla, it does 439. I don't know why. But it also has the effect of removing most of your items. This is like a plot thing, I guess. But so the only items I have at this point are Morph Ball, Bombs, and Wall Jump, Hyper Beam. I think this is kind of a plot device that is like, this is one way to explain why the next game Samus doesn't have any of her items. I think it's a really interesting change. But it necessitates that you go through the escape sequence without all your items. This escape sequence, if you haven't seen it, it's long. It's one of the most infamous things about Redesign. Has a lot of death traps near the end. Like to the point where if it's your first time playing, you're gonna probably get really far in it and then die at the end and have to do it all over. This level's unfair that we're talking about here. So I have a bad feeling that based on the fact that I came out of Metroid rooms with 29 power bombs and not 30, that I might be missing one. I wonder which one it was. Which is weird, because like normally the item that you're missing is missing. There's so many. Really hope I'm not missing one, but it seems seeming likely at this point. Alright, get ready for this escape timer. Alright, so it is a pretty generous time window, but 25 minutes is the amount that you get to do this escape. A lot of that on the first playthrough is going to be spent figuring out where to go and to read it. Since I no longer have high jump, spring ball package, and a bomb jump to these tunnels, like the game pretty much just throws you in every situation that you got comfy having items for. That's what this escape does. I guess I should also apologize for trying to start explaining like the backstory of running this game, which like I've done before. I've done that before in previous 80% marathon runs of them. There's so many different like things to explain about the room strats in this, and like the design of like what goes into getting each item. By the way, I lied. This is the last item. Cruel joke, you have to pick up a 10 missile pack in the escape to open 2 red doors. Great design, because if you miss a missile, you're screwed. You cannot get missile drafts from these guys. Wow, okay, I completely forgot about that. There's a mock wall you're supposed to be there. This skips this room, so it's like kind of similar to how you can skip one of the Metroid rooms with the mock ball, and you can skip one of the escape rooms on the way out as well. That completely slipped my mind. So that's not even too bad. That's like 25 seconds. I've done it in a run before, and I didn't really lose as much time as I was expecting. learned the existence of most of those by watching the task, actually. Alright, so coming up after these messages, I mean morphball tunnels, we have some acid rooms. Acid's particularly deadly because since I don't have gravity suit, or since I don't have any suits really, your physics are super gimped by the acid. It's difficult to get out of if you fall in. And it does so much damage to you not having suits because you don't have the 4x damage reduction that gravity normally gives you. So you take 4 times as much damage as you did before. So after more morphball tunnels, we have something that is kind of unexpected to have a problem dealing with at this point. We have a couple Metroid rooms. Because we have Hyper Beam instead of Ice Beam, we can't freeze the Metroid, so we can't kill them. And because we don't have Gravity Suit, obviously they drain a ton of energy really fast. So, you pretty much have to dodge them. In the second room, there is an energy recharge at the end of it, so if that one latches onto you, then you pretty much have to race your health to the finish line. I actually haven't lost any runs to that myself, but Personatus, who ran this game with me a couple of years ago, had some pretty devastating runs into Metroids. Luckily, I figured out a strat for the second Metroid room, because the second one's a really scary one. The first one's easy to get through, but the second's a really scary one. The first one, we just walk ball. The second one is a shaft that a Metroid basically follows you down the whole thing. Just mock ball past that. That's not too bad. That one's just as scary. That one can't touch you. This one, what I actually do when it comes on screen, I jump as high as possible to lure it upwards, and when it goes up, it's off screen, so it can't chase you anymore. It's just like this was so good once I figured out the strat because we no longer had fear of losing runs here. And like at the end of like however long category you're doing, however long run, 2.5 hour, like 3 hour, whatever run. At the end of that, you do not want to lose it to something really dumb and risky. And here's the other red door, so better hope that you didn't waste any resources. And here is the Metroid 1 escape shaft. This is some really ridiculous platforming given the gravity. You think these platforms are small? They start shrinking. It's really hard to recover when you fall down those. Actually, one easy thing you can do is try and go towards the center, but I didn't have to do that this time. We're good. Okay, finally out of Turian. Holy crap. And we have suitless underwater, hooray. Because this wasn't painful enough. This room is actually this is the second room you're intended to go through when you get to underwater criteria. And it's particularly nasty going through here normally because you have to kill 2 ninja pirates to progress. The pirates from Lower North here that kicked out of you and stuff. Which, like, with underwater physics, like, you have basically no movement options. You're sitting duck. Luckily, we have ways to skip that pretty much any route. Actually, like, even in 100%, you actually skip every ninja pirate rating. I think that's kind of crazy. Because there are 2 in that room. There are 2 more in another room in Criteria Depths that we completely skipped. It doesn't even have any items on it. So we just completely bypass that. And then there are 2 in Lower North area that we skip with the game glitch. Okay, so now that we're out of underwater criteria, this is lava rising criteria. So if you're not fast enough going through these rooms, the lava will catch up to you. And because lava still gimps your physics, you can't get out if it catches up to you. So you're dead. You have to make sure that doesn't happen. This is the hold left room. I call this the hold left room. You fall in that, you're dead. If you're doing this for the first time, it's pretty easy to fall into these traps when you aren't actually sure where you should go. I'm actually going to leave this guy alive so that I can get iframes from hitting him. So that the steam doesn't hit me. Alright. I love this strat. Underwater block ball. Oh, I messed it up. Actually, I can still redo this. There we go. So normally you can't block ball underwater because it requires you to jump while holding run. And if you hold run in water, it actually does nothing. But if you break the water line in the process, then it's possible. This is one of the scariest rooms in the escape because acid rises here, which damages you faster than lava, and you have a wall jump sequence here where if you fall down in the middle of this, you can easily end up in a position where you're stuck in the acid and you're unable to get out. This is near the end, so this pretty much sucks to die here. And finally, we're at the accessible part of the landing site, and the ship isn't here because there's a cave-in. So you get to this point, you're just like, oh, I have more to go through. Great. What I like about this hack is just Drew's effectiveness at provoking emotions from the player. I messed this straight up. It's okay. This is just a tie. This doesn't actually rise particularly. Alright, so these are the basically the criteria courtyards. You pass through these on your way to getting bombs. And some leaps of faith, some pretty tight jumps. Especially the one at the end of this room, which is really tight on its own. Like, you lose pretty much 30 seconds if you fail it on your way to BT. But if you fail it here, you lose an entire minute because this area is flooded. I call this the final boss jump because I have lost PBs to that jump. After doing everything else in the game, I have lost PBs to it. But fortunately, your ship is smart and flew somewhere else. So here we are. Time. I'm exhausted. That was a really bad idea. Also, I saved the animals at 2 no reset events so far, so I think they need a break this time. So, like I said, probably not actually 100% because I had 29 power bombs, and it's pretty unlikely that I got exactly 29 in drops from Turian. It's possible though, so I'm not sure. I can't think of which one I might have missed. Like usually when I realize I missed one, I think for a little bit and one kind of jumps out at me. It's like, oh, hey, you missed that one. But it's tough because power bombs, every single pickup is a one, adds 1 to your ammo count, except for the first one adds 3. So that means there are 28 total in the game. So I don't know. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed that run. I know I was trying to, there's kind of so much to explain. There's so much that I wanted to talk about that every few rooms it just kept being like a new thing that came up that I had to talk about. That I kind of cut myself off a lot and it was difficult to follow at times. But I hope people enjoyed it regardless, and thanks for sticking through that. I think you all know what to do. Wait, that means I missed 2. No.
Parce que ça, le fil qui est plugué là-dedans, c'est quoi? Ah, c'est un autre fil pas long. Mais non, l'autre, c'est un fil DisplayPort, ça marche pas.
On the behalf of the